Hi, Aaron. How are you doing?
Hi, Sky Havens. How are you?
Good. I just like throwing you off, thinking I'm going to do something weird, but you never know. It's right before the holiday.
I can see you before this goes live. I can see everything you're doing. I can see everything everyone's doing. You guys just
Okay. So now what I need to do is pretend like I'm doing it normal and then do something weird.
you can do whatever you want. I'm used to you being weird. It's 5 years in.
So, Aaron Fulk, how are you doing today? Are you having as good of a day as Bestway International and Evardy Construction?
They're probably having a better day.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We're both super busy. Evardy Construction may be going into a little bit of some easier times just because construction is very weather oriented.
Listen, I'm going to tell you what. Whoever decided, remember back when we were kids, there was no such thing as fall break?
Yeah, no, there wasn't. There's Thanksgiving and maybe Friday.
They didn't consult us teenage parents when they decided on fall break.
It's nuts. It's everyone's going that way. Like anything, this is not a political announcement, but like when you try to figure out a really complicated problem, you just sometimes need to talk to an expert, like the experts we have on our panel today. But I think it has something to do, and I'd love for someone to chime in on the audience. I think it has something to do with teacher recruitment and giving teachers more predictable schedules, shorter summers, but more breaks in between. So I don't know. I think it's a teacher recruitment reason of why we have these long breaks.
Well, all I know is that my kids are currently under a household threat that if they make any noise during this, there's going to be no friend activities for the rest of the week because it's been loud over here and it's hard to work. I went to my office this morning.
Yeah.
Work from home when you have teenagers. That's all I know.
No, you could say no turkey, but then they don't care. But you say no friends.
You always hear about when you have little kids, like your age kids, right? People talk about how nobody talks about how hard it is with their teenagers, and they just don't care to even pretend they like you anymore.
I do not. I'm enjoying the stages where they're at. My daughter gave me a hug today when I dropped her off, so I'll take that win. You got to do the small things. But what you're saying is I'm kind of curious what everyone's favorite ingredients are for Thanksgiving. But what about you? What's your favorite thing to eat on Thanksgiving? As we pop off and we have a dead screen there.
My kids just blew the fuse where all my extra stuff was in. So,
back to kids being home. Look at that.
Here we are. I told him not to turn that air fryer on because it's all on this one wall. And he's like, it'll be fine.
That's awesome. Well,
that's why I was talking so loud because he was right here and I was like making sure he knew. So, anyways, okay. So, what were you saying? Sorry,
back to the air fryer.
My cameras and everything went out. Oh my God, this. You know what? Gabriel and Josh were talking to us about earlier, like asking questions of the show. That's who's going to be on our panel today. And we're like, it's real laid back. And we are proving. I think we jinxed ourselves. So, all right. Well, let's do this. Let's just be done. Talk about our sponsors for a minute. And let's bring people in.
Well, right now, there's a lot of things going on. Speaking of the political climate, with potential tariffs going on, Bestway International specializes in a lot of international shipping. So they're great folks to talk to. Evardy Construction, you can't really hit a 9-iron without running into one of their projects that's going on. One thing that's unique is you're getting to the airport this week and you may be traveling. You will be eating at a restaurant in the airport that Evardy Construction helped build. So you will always be running into them. So great folks, better human beings than myself, and very lucky that they're friends of ours. But Aaron, you ready to get the show going?
Yeah, I'm so ready. Sorry, I'm so off. We're good.
Well, your hair looks phenomenal. You look great. So, it's a good day.
I got my hair done today, and she insists on curling it. Now I'm in a sweatshirt, stretch pants, and this curly hairdo. So here we go. It's a day. School will be back Monday. All right, here we go. Our first guest today is Gabriel. Gabriel looks so serious the whole time. And John. Gabriel, quit judging me, okay? Quit judging me.
No judging.
All right, Gabriel, who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
Yeah, so first, thanks guys for having me on. I really appreciate it. My name's Gabriel. I am an associate at Husch Blackwell, which is a law firm here in Kansas City. I got to Kansas City because I was born in Liberty, Missouri, actually, Liberty Hospital, even though I grew up in St. Joe. I always considered myself a Kansas City kid, Chiefs fan, Royals fan, despite all of the Royals shenanigans. And went to Mizzou for undergrad, majored in finance, worked at the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City as a financial analyst for 2 years. Microsoft Excel was my full-time job for 2 full years. I consider myself a Excel power user, which is pretty rare in the legal industry, as one might imagine. And then decided that I wanted to go get a legal education, even though I wasn't sure I wanted to be a lawyer. Went over to Washington University in St. Louis.
Wow.
For 3 years. And I had internships both summers here at Husch Blackwell, which is on South Plaza. And now I'm in year 3.5 here. I specialize in private equity, venture capital, corporate transactions, both on investor side and on company side. A lot of people, when they hear lawyer, they're thinking litigation, they're thinking disputes, but my job every day is contract drafting to prevent disputes. And specifically, it's in the context of private equity firms or venture capital firms wanting to conduct control transactions or minority investments in businesses here in Kansas City and all across the United States and the world, for that matter. So happy to be on the show today. I know we're going to talk about it later, but I just don't think people generally know what corporate lawyers do, because we're not the sexy lawyers on TV all the time, but it's an interesting practice and I really enjoy it.
Now, with what you do, how did you get the courage to go back to law school after already working at the Federal Reserve and already having a successful career? How'd you motivate yourself to do what you did?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to sound like the Disneyland answer, but to be honest, I didn't think that there were many opportunities in life to study for a test for an unlimited amount of time. And if you do really well on it, it can change your life. And I thought that was the LSAT for me. I could study for a year, 2 years, 3 years, however long, until I thought that I was ready. And so I did. I studied until I thought I was ready. I got a really good score, and WashU let me go there for free. And so at that point, it was basically just, how do you turn down that opportunity? So I created an opportunity for myself. It was a really good opportunity, one I couldn't say no to. And one thing led to the next.
And here you are. You made it all the way to
right. The pinnacle of my career right here.
Yes.
I do feel like if I was an attorney, if I did all that, I'd still want to argue with someone though. So.
Yeah. We like to argue, but it's fun to argue with other attorneys because we kind of all just like naturally understand the ground rules. We know it's not personal. It's just you're trying to get to the right answer, and it's a really fun, dynamic environment to be in every day.
Just a quick question, and then we got to move on. Are you married to an attorney as well?
I am not. She's a physical therapist at Children's Mercy. So much different dynamic.
Yeah.
And she's the bleeding heart of the family. And, it's refreshing because I see the world through her eyes and how the world should be and not necessarily, why it can't be that way.
I have a couple of friends that are attorneys married to attorneys, and it's very like this over there.
I imagine.
Yeah. I think it's kind of fun. All right, Josh, who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City? Oh, Josh, you're on mute because we were getting a lot of feedback. Okay,
sorry.
I'll start you over.
I am Josh Scott. I work for Area Real Estate Advisors. We are a commercial real estate firm. That means we kind of have 3 arms. There's leasing and brokerage. They help you find a space. Mm-hmm. Property management. They manage operations and accounting for landlords. And then project management. That's my arm. And we help you get a space ready to move into. So whether that is building a new ground up building, or if you're, renovating an existing space or moving into a building that's a blank shell space, we kind of help you get through the whole process of figuring out what you want to do, who you need to do it, and getting through the process. So we kind of come on front end and help you figure out who the architects need to be, who the engineers need to be, contractors, and then we get into furniture and equipment and IT and everything else. So we kind of help you go through the whole process from beginning to fully operational in the construction side of commercial real estate. And how did I end up in Kansas City? I've been here forever. I grew up in Northeast Independence and moved out to Blue Springs 12, 13 years ago now. So I've always been here, always within, 20-minute drive of downtown.
So Josh, what are your favorite projects you're the most proud of, or what are a couple of them?
I like the technical stuff. So we've done some data center stuff where you get into, kind of backup power and redundancies and kind of mission critical. So those are fun. But I've also done some government stuff, and those are fun from an intricate side on the paperwork because they're, kind of detail oriented, and that's kind of my specialty. That's my thing. So I'd probably say those. Yeah, mission critical stuff.
Now, those are your favorite. What would be your most recognizable project, do you think people on the street would recognize?
I don't know. That's a good question. We've done a lot of office spaces for big names. I mean, Edward Jones or Sandberg Phoenix here in town, or I'm trying to think of some big names, MasterCard. There's a handful of big names that people would recognize, but I don't know that any of them are super interesting. I mean, a lot of it's, office spaces and data centers and stuff that, the everyday person walking down the street might not recognize what goes into the project behind those.
Well,
Yeah, I see.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't like interrupting you, Aaron.
I was going to say, I feel like those are really big names. Fun fact you should probably know is one time, I think the CFO of MasterCard was on this show. And do you remember that? I asked him.
CIO.
I asked them how they would handle it. I asked everybody. It's a long time ago. How they would handle it if somebody hacked into their system, if they would pay or not. And he was like, I'm not going to answer.
So well, if they're watching the show, we're sorry, Dave, but Dave, he's no longer, he's now an executive at another company, but the MasterCard's data centers by the airport.
Yeah.
And so and that's not secret knowledge, but I mean, the MasterCard nationwide or globally had gotten hacked. So it was a timely question that we shouldn't have asked. On accident.
I'm in marketing. Okay.
Gabriel, what is the most pivotal point in your career?
Yeah, I don't know if this is the cop-out answer, so just nod your head yes if this is the cop-out answer, and I'll quickly pivot. But I try to think about this. I don't really think that there is a pivotal moment in my career so far. Obviously, I'm not everywhere I want to be in my career. Still a work in progress. But I think that the honest answer is it's just an everyday diligent process. And I've been really blessed to be at a firm like Husch Blackwell, which is a really large firm with a lot of really intelligent people, where I can see what it takes to be a successful attorney and what it takes to be a high quality person that ultimately I want to be. And although that might be the cop-out answer of like everyday diligence, I did come up with a couple examples of just kind of the everyday, right? So I once submitted to a partner at this firm a 60-page document that was pretty complicated, and he marked it up and brought it back to my desk. And one of the markups in the document for me to fix was he caught that I transposed two numbers in his zip code in a notice provision in a 60-page, where obviously that's not the most important thing, right? But what that showed me was, we're being diligent for our clients, are looking at every word and thinking about every word and thinking about how these contracts will impact all the parties involved. And that was just an example that I always go back to whenever I'm feeling tired or losing focus or whatever. That's not the quality of work that high level attorneys are gonna are going to produce. So that was just like a really bright line example for me. Then another one, I said that I consider myself an Excel power user. I've kind of established myself at the firm and our M&A practice as kind of the cap table expert. So for those of you watching this who might not know, the table is it shows the ownership of the company, and there's a lot of different rights and a lot of different things can impact how vintages change throughout time and through deals, and they can get pretty complicated. I really enjoy them because of my Excel background and my legal experience, but I messed one of those up one time, which is kind of a big deal. It got caught before closing, but I built it the way that I thought it should be built, or how it was going to be built, consistent with the way that I'd seen them before. But in reality, it wasn't built in the way that the documents demanded in that deal. And that was a great learning experience for me because, again, the detail orientation required in this job is exceptionally high. And those two examples just kind of taught me, it's like, if you want to get where you're going, I think in life generally, even if you're not an attorney or whatever, but diligence is the answer. It's a little bit every day. It's hard work every day. It's diligence every day. And that's what collects to a pivotal moment in someone's career.
Awesome.
I have so many questions, but we're on a timeline. I want to know if you're like forensic, but but we'll go another time. So Josh, what is the most pivotal point in your career?
There have been a few, but I think the biggest one was probably my jump into project management. So I kind of started my commercial real estate career as a building maintenance guy. I was a building engineer for a global real estate firm, and I was in that for, 6 or 7 years. And my direct boss at the time kind of knew I was getting itchy to stop turning wrenches every day. And he happened to be the head of the project management division at the time, and they had a spot open and he offered it to me. And that was a huge change. And that was kind of my intro into project management. He ended up being my mentor for a few years and kind of got me into it and got me going. So I'd say that was my biggest one.
What do you admire the most out of the person that was your mentor that taught you a lot?
Patience. I think he was a great mentor to a lot of people, and I think teaching people that are doing something that they've never done before takes a lot of patience and kind of having a teaching attitude and being the smartest guy in the room, but not letting everybody know that. I think he was really good at that.
So, meaning, is it more being speaking last or asking good questions? What are tips you have for the audience to, when we know something, we're proud of it and we want to tell people, but what advice do you have for the audience on how not to do that?
Just don't. I think you can be the smartest guy in the room and you can let people know that you are. Just don't do it in the wrong way. I think there's a way to go about things where you're kind of in somebody's face and letting them know the wrong way, or you can just politely let them down and make some corrections and tweaks. So I think that's probably the key, is just be nice about it no matter what you're doing.
And then do you guys also do retail? Like when we think of like fast casual brands?
Yeah. Area is actually one of the biggest firms in town for retail stuff. So we do everything: retail, office, industrial, some multifamily. We don't touch residential. We're strictly commercial on the real estate side. Project management side, we'll do some residential if it's a good fit.
Love it. All right, guys, here we go. Gabriel, how are your 2024 goals going? How can the Kansas City community help you, and what are you looking forward to in 2025?
Yeah, so my goals generally are just that I have a philosophy that as Kansas City grows, and if everyone in the Kansas City ecosystem can help everyone in the Kansas City ecosystem, then everyone wins. And I'm trying to grow the entrepreneurial, venture capital ecosystem in our city. And my goal is to try to be as much of a connector as I can. I want to be able to create relationships, even if I'm not the center of that web. And my philosophy is that as Kansas City grows, I'm gonna benefit from that. So if I have a contact that's looking to finance a construction project and I can get them looped in with Josh, and Josh gets a construction project off the ground for a business and they're successful and they need legal services as they continue to grow, then everybody wins. But I don't think everyone always knows that there are service providers out there who can really provide a lot of expertise and knowledge and value for their business, because they don't really understand what it is that we do. Watching Suits isn't really going to get you that good of an idea of what I can do for your business. So my goal is to say yes to coffee. If someone asks me, they want to go to coffee, they want to go to lunch, I really try, even when I'm busy or whatever, to say yes, go to that, learn about their business, make sure that they learn about my business so that we can continue to grow. I love Kansas City, and I want Kansas City to continue to succeed. And I think that the more people know about the services that everyone offers, the better our city is going to do.
Where does the motivation come from on wanting to do the business development side? Because a lot of times attorneys, really rely on things coming inbound. Where does your energy to reach out to people come from?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's more fun when it's your client. So I'll just be honest and say that, right? When you control the relationship and you get to, there's an opportunity to get to know the client in a way that you don't get that opportunity in most cases whenever it's somebody else's client. And that makes the relationship more fun. It makes the work more rewarding. It helps me be a better attorney because I have the context to make better judgment whenever I'm going through a document or whatever it might be. And I can trust that the person on the other side of that relationship is sharing with me the information I need to do my job well, too. So I think that there's a balance. I do a lot of work for a lot of big clients, for partners who are well established at this firm. And I learn a lot by working on those matters. And it's an excellent opportunity that I feel very privileged to have been given. But being able to work on my own clients is just another facet of trying to become the attorney and person I want to be. And that's the drive for me.
Love it, love it, love it. All right, Josh, how are your 2024 goals going? How can the Kansas City community help you? And what are you looking forward to in 2025?
2024 has been good so far. I think we came out of the gate really, really hard in Q1 and Q2. I think Q3, Q4 kind of slows down from election year and kind of people wrapping up budgets. But it's been a good year. Let's see. How can the Kansas City community help? Reach out. If you guys are looking for space, or if you want to get your space modified, or if you are looking to move, anything that involves commercial real estate whatsoever, reach out to me and I'll help you get to the next step and make sure you get there in the most efficient way possible. And Gabriel's exactly right. I think working together and kind of helping craft teams is a big important piece of it. So it's important to have a good attorney on hand. It's important to have project management in hand to kind of guide the process the entire way through. So I think that's it for 2024. 2025, same thing. Continue the growth, continue reaching out to more clients, getting more work done, getting more construction stuff in Kansas City, working with KCADC, the Development Council, trying to make sure we keep the momentum in Kansas City and keep it going forward.
So a lot of people don't know the origination story of your company. It's not that old. So can you tell everyone how your company started?
There are people that can tell the story better than I, but there were a few guys that kind of ran a couple of different pieces and they had done some work together, and they all kind of went separate ways. Tim Schaefer's our president now, and he's kind of the beginning of Area. So Area as a name has only been around, I think, 5 years, but our business roots have been around for 22 or 23, something like that. So it was kind of based out of the old Red Brokerage So it was originally just a brokerage house, and then started property management, I think 6 or 7 years ago. And I've been here for project management for just over 5 years now.
Do you have any favorite brokers that you love working with more than others?
Um,
Putting you on the spot. I'm putting you on the spot. You have a lot of very talented folks that you work with. Obviously, you said data centers, but if you had to give another example of something that you're giddy about and you hope this project comes in 2025, what would that be?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I think I haven't looked at any good heavy technical stuff lately, but I'd love to do more of it. I know there's a lot of data centers kind of looking at Kansas City, and some that have already committed to coming to Kansas City, and some that are going to be building conversions. I think we've all seen the Business Journal articles about the Kansas City Star building getting converted into a big data center. So I think those would be fun ones, and those are ones that I have not even looked into or reached out to anybody, but I think those would be really interesting and fun projects.
It used to be my dream to own that building. I think that's my favorite building in the whole city. So awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. You can find both Gabriel and Josh Well, you can find them on LinkedIn. I know we're on YouTube and Facebook as well. So head over to LinkedIn to find Josh and Gabriel. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Scott, thank you so much for being an incredible co-host. Thank you so much to our sponsors, Bestway International and Evardy Construction. And as always, actually next week, we will be here with a very special 1 hour long episode for, what is this? What are you doing?
Don't we have 4 people on the show?
We might have 4 or 5. I'm still figuring that out. So we're going to be here next week for a 1 hour episode. It's our Giving Tuesday episode. So we're going to have some awesome nonprofits on the show. So come ready to maybe make your Giving Tuesday donations after hearing all of these nonprofits. So I'm super excited about that. Up until then, we wanted to tell you we're very thankful and grateful for everybody that tunes in, watches this, whether you watch us live or the replay, and for everyone that's joined us. We hope you have a great Thanksgiving, and we will see you same time, same place next week. Enjoy the holiday, and go Chiefs.